What's going on? What's causing the crisis or the pain that you're feeling? Real quick video here. Had a thought about purpose and kind of what that looks like as you're going through your life. Sometimes when I have faced difficult circumstances, circumstances that bring about big emotions or strong emotions, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Earlier in my life, I pondered what are these emotions for? Like, what's the purpose of them? Like, we experience them as good and bad, and positive and negative, and that's kind of the dimension that we experience the emotions in. But maybe there's a purpose behind those emotions that's more than just I feel good, I feel bad, man, this is awesome, man, this sucks, like whatever that emotion is for you in that situation. And as I was walking through some very difficult times a few years back, quite a few years back now, like 15 years ago, oh man, I walked through it, and the pain, like there was a time where I couldn't, I was wanting to cry and I couldn't. The words were so, all I could do was just scream almost, with nothing coming out, no voice to come out to express the pain I was feeling during that particular time in my life. And it was exceedingly difficult. And so it was so traumatic that when I separated myself from it, I had to kind of separate myself from it. I was almost looking at myself doing that, going, what is going on here? Why am I doing that? This really is terrible, but why? Why is that happening to me? Why do I feel that way? Is there a reason for that? There's got to be some reason why. It can't just be, this is just terrible and just deal with it. This is terrible, but why is it terrible? What's going on? What's causing the crisis or the pain that you're feeling? And so it started making me think about kind of a different sort of way to look at emotions. And so I developed kind of a way to perceive it for myself so I could understand it. And what that is you have the truth that you believe. So I believe a certain truth, and I say I believe it. It may or may not be true. The thing about truth is that it's always true. I believe that truth is always true, regardless of how we perceive it or whether we believe it or not. It's like gravity. Gravity is a good illustration of truth. It exists. It exists in a certain way. It has certain effects, and it doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It will behave like it does, and it will exact judgment on your decisions, regardless of whether you believe in it or not. Right? I believe truth is very similar in nature to that. It just is. It's not good, bad, it's not up, down, it's just the way it is. And so you get the opportunity to make choices based on how you perceive it or whether you agree with it or not. So another aspect to that truth in that way is that it doesn't need anyone to defend it. Like, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to agree with me, I don't care. Like, you don't even have to agree with it. It doesn't care, right? If you don't agree, eventually it will exact truth upon you, and you will face the consequences of that, hopefully before it's too late. But again, it doesn't care, as far as I can tell, as truth being just an inanimate object, if it were such a thing. So looking at it like that, so the truth that you believe, which may or may not be true, so your truth would be kind of like a gold that might have impurities in it, right? So truth that you believe is similar to the truth, and the gold part of it is the thing that reflects the truth, or is similar, or like, or agrees with the truth. And all the impurities are areas that don't agree with the truth, right? And you don't know what those areas are. But then life comes in and circumstance happens. And what happens with circumstance is that you're facing the reality of the circumstance that you're in, and the truth that you believe forces you to behave in certain ways. And I'm not talking about what you think you believe, because that is way different than what you actually believe. Actual belief is demonstrated by action, and you probably and I don't generally even know what it is that we actually believe. Other people kind of can see it, because they can see how you're behaving this way or that, but you'll know them by their fruits, right? That's really what they believe. And so that living out what you think you believe and actually making choices and actions that are not even really conscious, but just the way that you live your life during a circumstance, and you face difficulty face a circumstance, and then you have these emotions that spring up as you go through that. Some of them are good, like this was a good thing. I did this and I was happy about it, and then I did this other thing and it was difficult and it was painful, and then you feel like, oh, this is terrible. And you look, why are these different emotions throughout this circumstance that I'm facing when I'm walking through life? And my perception on that is that emotion are signals. They are like flags. They're like posts to tell you, hey, this is good over here. You got something right. Hey, this is a problem over here. This is something that you need to check out. It's like pain is, right? If you touch something hot, feel it, oh, it hurts. Well, it's an indicator as to there's a problem here. You need to figure out why your hand is on fire, right? Like, it's the same kind of a concept. I think emotions have a very similar impact in your life. And so if you can detach yourself from the immediate feeling that you have and look at the emotion as an indication of something going on as opposed to just something you need to react to, it will help you calm down, enjoy your life, and walk through the circumstance looking at the opportunity to learn from it, as opposed to just dealing with the day-to-day choices and never really ever getting past what it is that you're facing. So let's boil it back down. So you have the truth, which is the gold. If you look at like the biblical concepts where trial by fire produces purity, right? Purity, and like gold is pure. So the gold, that which you believe that is true, and then the impurities that are in there that are that which are not true or not necessarily as true as they need to be, are facing in the circumstance. So the second thing is the circumstance that you face that forces you to face the reality of that circumstance and the untruthfulness of what you believe to be true. And then when the interaction of those two things happen, you have the springboard of emotions that come out and give you indications of what's working and what isn't working, so that you can then focus at look at those items and say, maybe I need to readdress what I'm thinking here. Maybe I need to consider what I'm looking at. And as you go through more difficult things, the way you respond to those emotions will actually, in my opinion, determine whether or not you get bitter or get better, right? And that's just a quick synopsis of emotions in finding purpose and finding direction for your life. Part of it is just being able to not allow your emotions to control you, but rather understanding what their purpose is. Enjoy them when they're good. Pay attention to them when they're bad, right? Like, wait a second, something is going on here. I need to be aware of this, and let that help you. Now, I don't think that that's the end all. I think that you need to add truth to your life by reading and studying and not being afraid to ask questions and being insightful into what's going on in your life. But definitely pay attention to these emotions, because emotions feel good and they feel bad, and the way you behave according to those emotions can really benefit you, or they can destroy your life. You can end up in all kinds of problems. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Bye. Hey guys, Marty here. Thank you so much for watching the video today. That last one that you just watched, man, I had an idea. I had just been reading or listening to an audiobook, and I got an idea while I was in the shower, and when I came out, I was actually talking to myself through some of the things that were going in my mind, and I just couldn't help myself. I had to record it before the thoughts were gone. So you got that raw. Anyway, one of the books I'm reading right now is called 12 Rules for Life. It's by Jordan Peterson. It's really insightful, pretty deep, so you got to pay attention or you might miss some things, but I highly recommend getting the book. He's more of a secular, and if you don't know anything about him, he's more secular in his thoughts, but he definitely asks some really good questions, and I definitely think that it's good that each of us are willing to look at that and ask those kinds of questions in our own hearts and minds, so that we can face the situations, circumstances that we're in, so that we can improve and become better, and whatever that means for you. So anyway, definitely check out his book below. I have a link to it, and also Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Welcome to look at that one too. That's my next book I'm going to look at. So if you guys want to get a head start, please feel free. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.